Consulting with the hand-picked leftist rabble, I'm Brian Lilly with TheRebel.media. In the middle of the last election campaign, the one last fall, Stephen Harper and the Conservatives announced that Canada was ready to sign off on the new trade agreement called the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, this set off the usual howls of protest on the always anti-trade left in Canada, and south of the border, the deal became known as Obama trade. Part of that is this is an election season in the United States. Another part is the new protectionist streak in the Republican base that looks a lot like the old protectionist streak in the Democratic Party base. Now in Canada, Stephen Harper championed the deal as a chance for Canada to gain new access to markets, the Asia-Pacific market, home to 40% of all global trade. Or he said we could ignore the deal and be shut out as the United States and Australia negotiate preferred access to some of our key markets. The NDP were generally against the deal, but the Liberals claimed they weren't against it, they just wanted to see details, consult with the Canadians. The Liberals claim, despite the historical record that shows the opposite, that they are and always have been the party of free trade. Now they've seen the details of the deal and they refuse to say much about it other than they will consult with Canadians on the deal. Minister Freeland makes this claim all the time in Parliament. So I decided to see who they were consulting. I have to tell you, it all leaves me a little bit worried. The Liberals are shy about telling average Canadian details of the trade deal. They're willing to consult with every anti-trade union, student group, and left-wing environmentalist they can find, though, while giving short shrift to the business community, which I assure you will have some real and legitimate questions about the deal, but at least they don't come to the table as an anti-trade zealot group. Now let's look at who International Trade Minister Chrystia Freeland and her parliamentary secretary are consulting on the TPP. Is it local boards of trade? No. Chambers of commerce? No. Is it a bunch of radicals inside unions and universities? You betcha. Up next on Freeland's consultation list, the good folks at Concordia University. That's right. On June 6th, rather than talk to Montreal's business community or the Conseil de Patronat or other groups that might lose or benefit from the deal, Minister Freeland will go to one of the most radical university campuses in Canada and ask what they think of the TPP. I remember, and it wasn't that long ago, being assigned to go cover the Student Federation at Concordia. Why? They were so radical, they elected a terrorist-loving slate to their student federation. They marched into meetings with military-style drums, the Palestinian flag held high. They sang the praises of the Intifada. Not much has changed. I don't think the average student at Concordia is a raging leftist. I think most just want to get their education and move on. But the folks that will show up for this meeting will be radical leftists. I assure you of that. Now, where else has Minister Freeland or her parliamentary secretary, her department, consulted? 9 other universities. That's right. They've held consultations at UPEI, McGill, University of Montreal, University of New Brunswick, Memorial, University of Regina, St. Mary's University, UBC, and the University of Alberta. How many consultations, though, as she or her parliamentary secretary had with chambers of commerce? 4. One of which was the Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce, so not so Canadian. In that consultation, by the way, that was part of her vanity trip to LA to appear on the Bill Maher show, the one where we showed you via emails and memos that her staff invented a reason for her to be in LA, set up meetings like the one with the LA Chamber of Commerce to justify her taxpayer-funded trip to be on Bill Maher's show. Freeland has met with more than 3 times as many university groups as Canadian Chambers of Commerce to discuss a major trade deal. Also on the list, the radical left-wingers at the Council of Canadians, a notoriously anti-trade political action committee, the Building Trades Union, which is an offshoot of the American-based Construction Union. She met with representatives of the Laborers International Union, or LIUNA, in Washington. If you look at where Minister Freeland is doing her consultations, it becomes clear. This isn't about consulting with average Canadians. It's not about consulting the business community. This is about consulting all the right people, or perhaps more appropriately, all the left people, to make sure this trade deal is shut down. See, the Liberals don't want to be seen as for or against this deal. Is it a good deal? Well, that might depend on what industry you're in, what part of the country, or what outlook you have on trade. But none of that matters to the Liberals. Their goal is to use these sham consultations to say they've heard from Canadians and that Canadians are rejecting this deal. But they're not actually consulting with regular Canadians. The fact that they're mainly talking to anti-trade radical leftists, that's going to be ignored by most. The media will walk on by, not noticing or caring what consultations were had. Of course, these consultations are a setup. It's like asking the turkeys to vote for Thanksgiving. It's never going to happen. So expect this trade deal to be shut down without you ever really knowing what's in it, other than the Liberals and their far-left allies never liked it to begin with.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of The Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.